Welcome to the Funny Mummies podcast. I'm your host, Hatty Ashdown, comedian and mum to two very lively boys. Each episode, I chat with amazing women from the world of comedy, bringing you a non-judgy dose of mum and tonic, how to stay afloat, laugh through the chaos, and be bloody great women.
Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day!
Hello, welcome to a very special episode of the Funny Mummies podcast. I'm Hatty Ashdown and I'm very excited about today's guest. We went way over time as always, and I did try not to fangirl all over her, but I don't think I succeeded. She's the star of the upcoming The Office Australia. You would have seen her on Wakefield, BBC's Live at the Apollo, Mock the Week, all those fantastic shows. We talked about making friends, building up a community once you become a single mum, the dating as a single mum. There were some interesting bits there. And also, like myself, becoming a later bisexual. I think that's what the kids call it. It's the award-winning funny mummy of one. She's UK-based, but she's an Aussie comic, Felicity Ward.
Of course we want to hit him! Of course we want to hit him! Not hard, just once! Just when they poke you in the eye and go, does that hurt? I don't know, does that hurt? Come on! I'll take you, mate! Of course we want to hit him. I'm a human being. But we don't, because we look at, I don't know, all of our parents, and they're all like, oh, I got hit and I'm fine, actually. Are you, mate? Yeah, I got hit and I'm fine, actually. I don't think you are. Yeah, I got hit. Old people, you've got a lot of shit you've got to sort out. You've got to stop saying, I got hit and I'm fine, actually. You've got to stop doing that. You've got to stop whistling. Stop whistling. It's the leisure song of the pedophile. Wipe it out. Wipe it out.
Please welcome to the podcast, Felicity Ward.
The genteel, demure and elegant lady, Felicity Ward.
I wanted to play that clip because, and I am going to fangirl over you a little bit. We've never actually met in real life, have
Can
we?
you believe it?
I know. I didn't realise that last night. I was like, oh yeah, I feel like I have. I know that sounds cheesy, but
No.
I was like, oh, we haven't met in real life. We've got a lot of the same friends, and you know, I think that's
We're on the
lovely.
WhatsApp group.
We're on a WhatsApp group. I mean, what more? But I think for me, a big compliment. If anyone said to me, like, I think about that clip, if I feel a bit sad,
Oh.
I think about that clip because there's something about your mannerism when you go round in the circle and you're like, I'll take you. I don't know why, it just really tickled me. And obviously, you know, you're not a child hitter. I just want to say that because
I
people
would never hit my beautiful son. To be honest, my son is an angel, and if anyone met him, they would be sad that I even wrote a joke about the possibility because you could not hope for a better child. I just have low capability sometimes, but like he's an angel. It is like living with an animated Disney bear.
Really?
We went to a New Year's Eve sort of barbecue in Australia, and when we were leaving, one of the guys said, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it because he is the most polite child I have ever met in my life.
Felicity, what are you doing? Because
don't know.
I have not got that.
He also does have like a little, you know, middle-class North London accent though.
Oh, does he?
You know, so he said, Mummy, can we have Old McDonald's? He called it Old McDonald's and I'm never going to correct him.
Yeah, I remember my kids going through that phase and they've stopped calling it Old McDonald's. That's a big thing that I'm having with my kids. So mine are 9 and 6, right? The oldest is ADHD and autistic, but he's got the autistic side where he's quite in your face. So I didn't realise it was autism. I just thought he was really friendly. Honestly, when he was getting tested for ADHD and they said, oh, we think we'll might look at if he's got autism, and I was like, no. And they were like, does he have boundaries? And I was like, no, he'll just walk straight in somewhere. And I'm like, he's just really confident. Both his parents are, you know, in showbiz. But it's not that. He's just got no, you know. So he's all right with people. But the younger one, who said to me the other day, he said, I'm the only one who hasn't got anything, Mummy. He can be.
Did you say there's still time?
Yeah, there's still time, love. He's quite rude to people, and it's just so embarrassing. And
It's hard.
But rude in the way that he just doesn't want to say hello. He just goes, you know, that kind of rude.
Yeah. But then it's also like a funny little character as well. It's hard. I think for me, what I've always remembered that I am raising a baby who's going to be a little boy, who's going to be a teenager, who's going to be a man.
Yes.
And, I'm a single parent now, and he went through a phase of like when his dad and I split up, where he did a lot of hitting and kicking, and we would both emotionally dysregulate, except I'm in my 40s. And, when he used to get so angry and he would just keep hitting me, even though he was tiny, there's this part of me that goes, what happens when he's 15? What happens? Like, and I know kids grow out of it and stuff like that, but it's something that's always in the back of my mind. And I'm always really aware of teaching him how to listen to women and how to speak to women. And that's a really important thing for me. So sometimes I'm trying to be as sort of respectful as I can, but sometimes my ex-husband thought that stopping a conversation would stop it from escalating. And what that meant sometimes was him talking over me. And I found that very, very upsetting. And it hasn't happened for maybe a year now in front of our kid, but it happened once.
Yeah.
And I pulled him aside and I said, we are teaching him not just how to speak to his mother, but also how to speak to women. So I would appreciate if you didn't do that in front of him. I mean, at all, but the most important thing that we have in common is our child.
God, that's so true. How long have you been a single parent now? Can I ask?
We separated 2 years ago.
Oh, so you're similar to me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. 2, man. It's funny. Sometimes I think 2 would be easier. And then sometimes I know that it's easier having 1. What I don't get is go and play with your sister, go and play with your brother.
Yeah.
There's none of that. It is me all of the time when I have him, and we do 1 week on, 1 week off.
Right.
And there is the impossibility of I have to cook and clean and no one else lives with me and I'm disorganized. And if you have ADHD or you are undiagnosed, you'll know that it's easier to do something when someone else is around, even that if that's a 5-year-old.
Well, it's the, what's it called? The
body doubling.
Body doubling?
Do you know about body doubling?
No.
Body doubling is people who have ADHD find it easier to do things when other people are in the room. So literally just having another body there.
That's not true, but I didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah, it's called body doubling. So Beck Hill is coming over on Friday because she has ADHD too. So we're just going to do admin, just being in the same room, just having someone else there. Because by myself, I'll go into my head, I'll go into my phone, or I'll go into my phone to avoid being in my head. I don't have anxiety the way that I used to have it. I haven't had it properly for years. I had depression, don't worry. I didn't get off, but I have realized how much I'm addicted to my phone, and not in a like, oh my God, I really should get off, as in I can't be without it. I am always on it unless I am doing something else. And if I'm doing something else, I have music playing in the background. And I had a friend of mine say that he was like in his mid-40s where he's like, I can't be by myself. I'm like, that's weird. I can. And I'm like, oh, no, you can't.
I'm the same as that, by the way, with I've just realised I like going and writing in a cafe. And I think it's because of other people being around.
I do the same thing. That's where I go to write, is I'll go to a cafe. Do you ever get like, I'm just making a glass of water,
Please do.
I'm Jesus. I've just got this glass of water that I'm going to turn into wine at 11 a.m.
Oh, yes, please.
Sometimes if I go to a cafe and I'm on a roll, I'll write like a chunk of stand-up and then I have to leave. It's like I've used up the space in the cafe or something.
Right.
I'm like, all the creativity is too much. I've done all that I can. I've got to get out.
That's interesting.
Like I feel overwhelmed by, it doesn't happen often. Often I go to a cafe and nothing happens and I sit there going, get off your phone, Felicity. You came here to write.
You're right. I invite people round because I know then I'll clean the house up.
Absolutely.
It's the classic. I know, but it works. I mean, I got tested I had my results back 2 weeks ago. Combined, I know, congratulations. Combined ADHD. It's taken me about a year and a half.
Are you ADHD then? You said combined ADHD with autism?
No, combined just means I've got the hectic, but also can just completely burn out and
yeah.
nothing.
Oh, God,
But people say to me, "Oh, I thought you took about 3 years to get the test." And I'm like, I think they must have fast tracked me. I don't know why I was so quick. Because, like you, I lost a fucking email and stuff like that. And then they came back to me and went, "We haven't had your reply." And I was like, "I sent it." And then I was like, you know,
no, I didn't.
when I was doing the forms and everything, I've lost both my parents, and there's a big bit you have to like fill in with your. It said, you know, with parents or siblings. Do your parents, are they still with us?
My parents are still alive. I haven't spoken to my dad for 3 years. My sister has been diagnosed with ADHD.
Okay.
My mum almost definitely has it. She might have autism as well. I have a joke about it where I say, I'm undiagnosed ADHD. I don't know that I definitely have it, but there has been signs. The first one was in 1999 when I worked for a retired nurse at a cafe, and 2 weeks into working there, she said, "Felicity, can you have some of my son's Ritalin? You have ADHD." And then I say, so I thought this is really important. I've got to get right onto this. So I went straight to the GP 23 years later.
So would your mum say that there was, because when my son started having tantrums, she just suddenly from nowhere, and when we're saying tantrums, this was another level tantrum, right?
Yeah.
She went, "I know somebody else who was like that." And I went, "What?" This was before she died, obviously. That was not last words. My daughter's got ADHD. I got a little bit from her then, but that was way before I thought about having a test.
The joke about me was my dad always brings it up. I was like lay down in the shopping aisle tantrums. But ADHD didn't really, you know, it became more public in like the late 90s. So that's sort of when, you know, the medication conversations and about drugging kids and, you know, when people pretended to care about kids when actually they just didn't understand it. Anyway, do you know what? I'm very afraid to get tested in case they say you don't have it.
This was my thing as well.
I'm terrified. My best friend has been diagnosed with ADHD and then just more recently with autism. She thinks I have both. I haven't written stand-up about it. I'm only recently come out as bisexual. And I think I'm afraid of eating pussy the same way I'm afraid of getting tested, because what if it turns out it's not for me?
Well, as also another, well, apparently a late bisexual.
A late bisexual.
Later bisexual. I don't know if I'm a late bisexual because I knew I was bisexual before I got married to a man.
I did not.
For 12 years. But I only had a few flings with women. It wasn't any relationships. So when my marriage broke up, you know, and you're going for the, I was like, well, I could explore that world again. I I feel like I could help you with that bit, but that might have to be on the Patreon.
Maybe that's a voice note.
That's a voice note. I don't mean help you as in help you practically.
Come over, Hattie. Come on, we'll have an afternoon. We'll help each other. You can give me some of your meds. I'll eat your pussy. We'll get just.
It's a bit of practice.
What's some cunnilingus between friends?
I'll be honest, I was a bit scared as well. So
terrified, absolutely terrified of vaginas.
And it was that thing of another comic. Oh God, I'm so bad at remembering names. She's relatively young and new, but she's
Anya Magliano.
Who?
Anya Magliano.
Is that her name? With ginger hair, curly.
Yep. It's the most amazing bit of stand-up, isn't it?
Oh, the bit about, you know, like women's, you know, we just care about, you realise that with men, you're like, yeah, whatever, they don't care what you do, stick it in your mouth, whatever. But with women, it's like, I don't want to get this right. I don't want to fuck it up.
And her joke is something like, it's like failing a test that you got the answers for the night before. It's something like that. She said the joke was like, God damn it, it's perfect.
I know. But I will just say, when you're in the mood,
it just happens.
It just happens.
Of course.
Yeah. But I did go through all that as well. It's like, maybe I'll just be one of them that just doesn't do that bit.
Yeah.
And then, turns out I quite like it now.
Good for you. I think the thing that I struggle with is, I mean, you know, the first bit that I struggle with is just the pool is so much smaller. Unfortunately, the amount of fucking straight men and queer men that are out there and that are on apps, and they are into me. which is lovely. But
Okay.
women, not as many. And then you've got to find your type. You know, like I found lots of men that are my type, but this is out of hundreds,
Yeah.
where I'm like, I'd like to match with them. But there's a
Yeah.
lot of like, no, 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 no. With women, I would say I get like 1 out of 100 are
Hey.
women that like me, or non-binary, maybe 2.
I've literally having the opposite. So isn't that mad? Okay, let's get into the apps.
Let's get into it.
So have you been on her app?
I came off it. There was too many women that had taken their photo like they took it on a laptop in a truck in 2012. I was like, this is, I can't.
In a truck. Oh, I've just had a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of sporty women, or just like the filters and stuff as well with the bunny ears.
Feel very embarrassed when people have filters on every single one of the pictures. I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what you look like, man. Here is the thing about anyone. If I meet you at a party, you don't have to be physically attractive. If you are funny and interesting and we hit
Yeah.
it off, chemistry's there, you know it. On apps, it's unfortunately it starts with the physical. That's the first port of call is, am I physically attracted to your face? I'm a face person. I actually don't care what people's bodies look like. But if I'm not attracted to your face, not happening.
Right. No. So what pulls you in first? Like if someone messaged you and they were really quite funny.
Oh, my kingdom for funny. I feel angry about this. There are no funny people out there. There are no funny men out there.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I have been on so many dates, Hattie.
Have you?
You would be impressed at the number of dates that I have been on. And then I've matched with a lot more people on top of that. What I will say is that very few dates that I've been on with women and non-binary people, incredible communication, messaging, all of it, wonderful.
Yeah.
Top notch. One of them in classic queer style. One of them I went on one date with, and we had a bit of a pash at the end of the date. And then we just couldn't figure out if we wanted to be friends or more.
Right.
And then we've just turned into friends. And she's
Yeah.
so great. And she's really, really funny. She's really quirky and really beautiful. Just turns out we don't want to tear each other's clothes off.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to like, oh God, I cannot believe how unfunny men are that I've been on dates with. There's 2 in like a year that have been funny in real life.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about out of 30.
Do you think because I have been out with comics, I married a comic, and I do sometimes think like the bar is quite high for us because we're used to being around comics that have that charisma. And
I ask this of you, and I ask this of any woman who has girlfriends, platonic girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you laugh with more than your girlfriends?
Oh, it's true.
And your friends aren't comedians? If you've got like Tracey, who works at a bank, she's from Hull. Number one, she's funny because she's from Hull. But she has a bunch of friends and they are all funny.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I'm not looking for someone who is as funny as me or funnier than me.
Yeah.
I want someone who makes me laugh. That's different.
Yeah.
And the idea of someone trying to make me laugh the way I try to make them laugh.
Yeah.
And when people are like, you don't want 2 funny people, I'm like, I am so fucking tired of being, this sounds really arrogant. I'm so sorry. But like, here's the thing. When I turn up on a date, I am fucking there, man. I'm interested, curious. I'm lighthearted. I have space to go really, really deep, I'm a very open book all of the time. And I love people and I'm fascinated by people. I love to know about their interior lives. Let me tell you this. There is someone who I've been on a few dates with who has ADHD. We have the best chats. It is, mate, I almost want to exclusively date people with ADHD. You're not keeping the ball in the air. It is a volleyball game. Back, forth. We hung out the other day and our conversation went from, we talked about past relationships, then we talked about an Australian politician, then we talked about Salvador Dali and the Spanish fascist regime. Like It was an absolute joy.
Yeah.
That's what I live for.
Yeah, you just want it to be easy. And that's the thing. Do you have a rule with like when you take it off of just WhatsApping or whatever? Because for me, there was a whole thing of like you're chatting on the apps,
Yeah.
and then it's like, well, shall we take this to WhatsApp? And then I tried to get the kind of like, let's meet up quite quickly, because I've had it where you think you know someone and then you meet up and you're like, oh, you're not as funny as you was when we were texting, or the other way around.
They never are.
Or the other way around,
I'm
where
probably not.
you meet up and you go, oh, actually, they're a lot more funnier in that in real life.
That has never
whatever.
happened to me.
No.
Look, I think that part of it is that I only went on apps for the first time in my life last May. Never been on an app before. And like you, apps didn't exist before I got married. So in the beginning, I was like, I was just looking for something casual.
Yeah.
And then I thought but I think I had a little secret, like, oh, what if I met someone that was really nice?
Yeah, cool.
And then I just decided to let go of that because I kept like turning up and going, oh, okay. Whereas now I'm like, I'm only meeting people casually. And then if something else happens, I'm 100% open to it. And I don't want to be like a Sally sad sack about it or anything, but I don't know if I'm going to, I genuinely don't know if I'll ever find someone. I know that I'm not trying to be self-pitying, but like,
Yeah.
I've had a really big life. I've had a really hard life. I've done a lot of therapy. I've been in support groups. I've had to do a lot of shit by myself, none of it with my family around. Last year was one of the hardest years emotionally of my life, financially of my life. I was in crisis all of last year, and I was single parenting on top of that. So the resilience that I have had to
Build up.
synthesize within myself and build up, I want to meet someone who has as much depth of character.
Yes.
And do you know what, though? If they were funny, that would be 80% of anything I needed.
No.
Genuinely, if you're funny, I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I know you spent all our money, but look, we have a great time. We have a great time.
I know.
All I want to do is fucking laugh,
Yeah. That's the thing. If they look like they got no teeth in the back end of a bus, you're like, oh, but we have a laugh. Well, I mean, I would laugh if he had no teeth, probably.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair. And that's the unfortunate thing about apps too, because the chances that someone you're going to be attracted to is then also interesting and funny.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I miss the flirting of like real life when you like used to work in normal jobs or whatever. And that's the thing. We're now single mums and we do comedy. So it's like that's why we go on them, because it's like, where are you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself out there in different circumstances. Like this wasn't a conscious thing, but the kids started going to Scouts and Beavers, and I was like, yeah, I'll volunteer. Not because I'm thinking I might meet someone at Beavers, but they say put yourself out there. So I was like, nothing's happened at Beavers.
To be fair, that's not a surprise. But
no, I know. But that's all we can do. There's not.
Do you know what I did a couple of weeks ago?
What?
I did this thing called Time Left, and you paid 10 quid. And it's an app, and they match you with, it's not a romantic thing, but they match you with 5 other adults, and you all have dinner together with 5 random people that have also put their name. They ask you a couple, like your age, what country you're from, like, would you consider yourself more political or funny? And then they match you with other people your age group, which is like, I would like a bit more of a mix. But yeah, I've only done it once, but I'd totally do it again because I love people. I love meeting random people. I didn't think that I would meet someone romantically there. It was more of, I find London
lonely.
Yeah, I find it really lonely. And I don't want to say it's the city, but it is me in this city. That's how I feel. And I've been here for nearly 12 years and it hasn't ever really changed. Yeah. And comedians are, I have lots of comic friends, but we have really busy lives. And then if you add kids on top of that, and then you add the flakiness of being a comedian on top of that, it's very hard to find regular local support groups, or means of support. And I think the thing that I have often found, or for a long time in the middle, that I found very lonely, which happens when you have a kid and also happens because of COVID, where I feel most at home or where I get most rejuvenation is if I have a friend come to my house and we sit on the couch, or I go to their house. Like,
Oh
sit on the couch and let's talk until we have to go. That is my
my
ideal.
God, that is my ideal too. When it's like there's an option and they go, oh, actually, we'll save some money. If you come round, I'll cook, blah, blah, blah. You're like, yes.
Come over for a cup of tea. And Hattie, I mean this genuinely, come over for a cup of tea. Like, I have just moved into a new apartment and I have somehow landed one that I turned up and the price got reduced and
Wow.
it's fucking massive. And it's still so expensive because it's London.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm like, oh, I could invite people here. Number one, they could get here because I've been living in Boreham Wood for the last 3 years.
Right.
And let me tell you, no one's coming to Boreham Wood.
Yeah, I've had that experience. Not in Boreham Wood, but
No one's dropping into Boreham Wood.
yeah. I've seen your kitchen in your clips and it looks very nice. So
This kitchen.
I'm there. No, it was a different kitchen.
Yeah, that was my house in Boreham Wood. That was the house that we bought. We renovated
looks
that
like a nice
kitchen
kitchen
to
as
make it
well.
look like that. That was our house in Boreham Wood. So we bought a house because the closest we could afford was Boreham Wood to London, and it was an absolute shit heap, and then spent more money than I had on renovations and got a dream kitchen, and then we got a divorce.
I'm sorry I brought up the dream
Oh,
kitchen.
no, it's fine. I'm very lucky the place that I've moved into is just surrounded by windows. And as an Australian, I can't tell you how much I need this. But in our house, we put skylights in, and it's the greatest thing for an Australian to have skylights. You're like, it's all going to be okay.
You miss the skylights.
Well, I would, except this place is flanked in massive windows. I'm so happy.
Hello, you're listening to the Funny Mummy podcast. Can I have a snack now?
Talking of snuggling up with a friend on the sofa, maybe it's a good time. So my sister, funny enough, saying about Tracey, her name's Tracey. And
oh my God.
And she's not a comic, but she is the funniest woman I know. I don't know whether she's funny on this one. Sometimes she is, sometimes she's not. And basically, we do this because we would often give each other TV recommendations because as a parent, you haven't got time.
Yes.
Flick, 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 flick. You might only have an hour. You might be flicking something else.
Oi, oi.
Oi, keep it clean. It's a family show.
Family show.
So this is, God knows what it is. Our remit thing is not anything like current, because
I love that.
We can all see that, can't we, anytime?
Love it.
Obviously, you should be snuggling up and watching the Australia Office. But let's see what Tracey's recommending this week.
Hello, Hattie. I've got one of my reviews for you. This is the film The Reader with Kate Winslet. Now, I think it was like 1990, maybe not that far ago. But yeah, it was a little while ago. But I returned to this film this weekend and it made me think of it. So it was originally a novel by Bernard Schlink. I really don't know what to make of Kate Winslet's character. She's so distant and tough. She's I don't know if you call her a conductor on the buses. It's secondary. Anyway, when we go forward in time, because this is back in late 40s, maybe even the 60s, it's really hard to do the time because I don't remember them saying the times, but the year or whatever. But it goes a bit backwards and forwards. But it
makes me miss my sister
so much. Confused, not too much, obviously. But she calls this starts a bit of a love affair with him, but she calls him the kid. So what happens is he's not well one day. She helps him, then he comes back with flowers, and they, end up. And then, but he's considerably younger than her. Not illegal, but younger. And then
is he? I think he might be illegal.
Really?
He's studying. He must be studying law, and he has to go and witness a court case. This is a bit of a spoiler, and he's going to see one of the Nazi war criminal cases, and it's only bloody Kate Winslet. It's only her. Of course, he's in a quandary. It's like, oh my God. Well, one of the things, I won't say too much, The clue is in the name of the film.
After a 10-minute review.
Yeah.
It's another view of the Holocaust, and the bigger story, the wider story. Was everyone awful, or did everyone have a story? All right, have a good day.
I can tell you she had a few wines when she'd done that one.
Obsessed.
Because she'd forgotten, and I said, oh, we need another one. And I said, you could do it in the morning. She went, nah, I'll be fine. I said, yeah, go on then.
Send it after the wines, mate. Loved it.
I've never seen it. But obviously love a bit of Kate Winslet.
I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find something she's bad in.
Yeah.
Even if a movie is bad, she's not bad.
Yeah.
What is it? She's in the, the Divergent series?
Yeah, not watched it.
But her name, I wanted to write stand-up on it, or at least I wrote it down. She's like the villain, and her name is so funny. It's like a non-villain name, and it is wonderful to watch someone in like power suits and like commanding over societies. And they're like, what's your name? It's like, Gertrude.
Yeah.
Janine. There it is.
Janine.
Like, what villain is called Janine?
Yeah.
Love it. It's like she sells scones in country Victoria.
Yes. Because I said to my sister, well, she's a bit of a gay icon in the lesbian world. And Kate Winslet, she went, is she? And I said, oh, yeah. I think a lot of it comes from that Ammonite film that she...
Oh, that makes sense. I never saw it. I don't know why. And it has Saoirse Ronan in it too, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, if you need to do your research,
you
need to watch that film.
Mary and the Dinosaurs.
But yeah, so you play Hannah in the. I'm not gonna. I know you've done millions of press junkets, so I'm not gonna make you do any of
Honestly,
that.
it was 6 months ago. Like, it came out October last year, and what you don't realize when you're not in it is that it feels like the show comes out and that I'm still living it as if it's still coming out. Whereas you do all the press, all of the schedules, all of the editing, all of the vetoes about press shots and what have you, all of that happens beforehand. And then it comes out and then you do nothing for it. So I forget.
Right.
I don't forget that I did it. I'm not like, it's the next thing that I'm worried about. Like, also, we filmed it in 2023. It's nearly 2 years ago that we filmed it.
So was that at the start of your breakup then?
Yeah, it was 4 months after. It was very difficult. It
was difficult, not because some people would say relief, to have something to do.
The actual show was incredible and one of the best experiences I've ever. Like, I will never get a role like Hannah Howard. I can't imagine I will ever get a role like Hannah Howard ever again.
Oh, I think you will. Honestly, I'm not just saying it. You're brilliant at it, and I binge watched it thinking. I'm just being honest, and I didn't have to. I just let it roll, and I binge watched it in one night.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I mean, all of us. That's what all of us. No one wanted to have to lie about liking it. Yeah. Everyone wanted it to be, everyone that I know wanted it to be like so good and wanted me to be so good. Yeah. Because it's The Office.
Yeah.
The job itself was incredible. We had already agreed, though, that he was going to come out in the middle of filming with our son before we broke up, because I was out there for 10 weeks. So he did that, and that was, we did our best. It was for a short time. It was 8 to 10 days, something like that. I don't think I've spoken about this. I didn't tell anyone on set that we'd broken up.
I get that.
I told the 3 directors in case I had a breakdown at any point over the series or filming, but I didn't tell any of the other actors until I sort of slowly told. I think I probably told 3 or 4 of them over the course of filming as I became closer to them. But I didn't want anyone to look at me with pity while we were filming. And then when my ex came and my child came, I didn't want them to be made to feel uncomfortable. I didn't want people to wonder how to deal with anyone or treat anyone. Yeah. So I was like, if I keep this to myself, then everyone thinks everything's fine, and it's just me and my pillow that have to work through it. It was easy enough to keep to the side while I was filming because I
I
could
was going to
just
say,
immerse
it's like
myself in
you've
it.
paused it a bit. You're like, you're playing this character. You're working, and so
And it was just joyous.
yeah. And it's like I don't want to think about that. Whereas if everyone knows, it would be too easy, I imagine, to have those moments between takes or something where you just go woo, but actually it was
Yeah.
keeping it aside.
Yeah, I did Dancing with the Stars recently in Australia, and I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing when I'm away from my kid.
Yeah,
And this was the longest that I'd ever been away from him. I was away from him for 8 weeks, and I struggled this time. And I
yeah,
remember a couple of times people going, is your son with you? I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, God, you must be missing him. And a couple of times I had to say, I am. And I don't think
yeah.
I can talk about it right now because I'll get very sad. And, most people understood that. I think everyone understood it. But, sometimes people go, oh, all right, it was just and they are trying to be nice, but you're like, I'm about to perform in front of a live studio
Yeah.
audience doing the samba, and I don't know how I have to focus on that.
And not think about how much I'm missing my son.
Yeah, or the guilt or the shame or,
Guilt.
how many
Oh.
hours he'll be in therapy for me being away, etc., etc.
I think for myself, same. I'd always been fine with compartmentalizing the kids. When people sort of go, oh, I bumped into a comic the other day, actually, who's recently had her first baby. And she's like, she'd gone to get her nails. And she was like, oh my God, I just can't, I feel like I'm attached to him. And I feel really funny to being away for a couple of hours. And I was saying, I mean, that may go, may not go, or may. I said, but once I started gigging, by the time I'd closed the door, I'd forgotten,
Yeah, like it's about getting yourself back too.
But I think since the split, I've been when I was in Edinburgh, and I was only there for 2 weeks, but I nearly cried because I missed them so much. And maybe it's because it is just me and them now,
Yeah.
So
I straddle lots of worlds, and it's a lot of acceptance because on the one hand, I have a thriving career in Australia. All of my family is there. I have no family in the UK. I don't have a very good support system. Like I'm very close with my ex's family. They're angels, and thank God that relationship has been maintained
that's good.
because I don't know what I would have done without them genuinely over the last couple of years. They're amazing, and I love them. I love them. But you also do need people that you don't have to filter with, and that you don't have to sort
Yeah.
of go, oh, hold your tongue on that one. And I do have I've got friends like that, but moving back to this area has been great because my kid went to nursery around here too. So I'm still friends with a bunch of the nursery mums.
Oh, that's good.
There was 2 mums who I met at that nursery where I'm like, oh, we're just going to be friends for life. Then one of them moved to Kenya and the other one moved back to Australia. I was like,
Oh no.
So there's the world of me personally feeling like my heart is still in Australia and probably always will be.
Yeah.
Then there's the world that my career is empirically in Australia. Then there's my son who lives here and his dad lives here. And so I have to be here. And then
Yeah.
I've got my career here is mostly on stage. I do almost no TV in the UK. None of my success anywhere else has translated to the UK. I've been here for 12 years. And I feel like in 2018, that was the only time that I felt like I had momentum for the first time over here. And then I got pregnant, and then COVID, and I've found it very difficult since then. There's a lot of things that I do hold at the same time and accept and have to and breathe through, trying to hold them all at the same time softly enough so that I don't crush any of them, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
absolutely makes sense.
what I want to do is, if I've got my hands out in front of me, I have my Australian career in one hand, I want to crush it. I want to hold it and say, this is what I want. But my son is in the other one, and I have to hold that. And the thing is, I've got to have my hands open at any point because the sizes of both of these things will change all the time.
I think that is just being a blooming modern woman. It's the juggle. I think even more so for us in the performer world.
And I can't tell you how. I reckon about 15 years ago, I sort of had I had a bit of an awakening with how unmanageable I was with my money. In that I was just like, if I need more money, I'll work more. and I always had money. I wasn't rich, but I always had money. And then I realized I just wasn't on top of things. And I would say that in the context of a marriage, I became very dependent on my ex's way of doing things. And he provided a lot of structure because I can be unmanageable, even though I did it for myself. And it's literally just been the last 2 days where I'm like, right, you've got to stop ignoring.
Yeah.
You can't just keep going. If I need more money, I'll work more. I need a better system because I'm just not conscious of how to manage my money. And what I want to do is be a child and go, I'm bad with money. And I either completely deprive myself of essentials.
Yeah.
Or I get whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah. I'm going to pause it there because we're going to say goodbye to everybody who's not on Patreon.
And then we can cut to the 2-hour extra session.
Yeah, where we talk about how to manage our money. No, we'll talk about anything which does relate to money, actually, funny enough. Something that I got the kids, which was a real, like, you can't pay the rent, but let's go and spend £350 on this. And has caused a bit of argument. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. So for everyone else, thank you very much, Felicity Ward.
Always a pleasure. I love a podcast. It's just a phone call that's being filmed.
Oh, it's so good, isn't it? Thank you very much, Felicity. Woo! Thank you. I've been Hatty Ashdown, and thank you to my producer, Natalie King. Don't forget to join the gang over on Patreon. Just search for Funny Mummies Podcast with Hatty Ashdown. For the price of a coffee, you can support this podcast. You'll get to hear it first, you'll get a full version, and loads of other perks. Come join the Funny Mummies community.
Happy Mother's Day! Happy Mother's Day!